How should Christians keep the Sabbath? In Exodus 20, starting at verse 8, it says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." This is the longest of the 10 Commandments, but it seems to be the ones that a lot of Christians neglect the most. Some people think that this is just a law that was given just to Israel and isn't a moral law for all people. The problem with that, though, is that it's in the 10 Commandments, and no one would argue that any of the other 9 Commandments are only for Israel. Everyone agrees that the other 9 Commandments are for all people at all times, so it'd be strange for God to put in a commandment that is only for Israel with all these other commandments that are for all people at all times. Now, the 7th day of the week is actually Saturday, although I have heard before that the calendar that the Israelites used back then doesn't line up with our calendar, and so their 7th day isn't the same as our 7th day, so their 7th day is something more like a Tuesday. That's just something I heard, though. I'm not sure how true that is, so don't quote me on that. But we see in the early church Christians worshiping the Lord not on Saturday, but on Sunday, the first day of the week. And they do that to honor Jesus' resurrection from the dead on Sunday. We can see the beginnings of this in the New Testament. In Acts chapter 7, verse 20, it says, "Now on the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul, ready to depart the next day, spoke to them and continued his message until midnight." And in Revelation chapter 1, verse 10, it says, "I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice as of a trumpet." This shows that even in the New Testament, Christians were seeing the first day of the week as something sacred. And we see in the church fathers also that Christians were worshiping on the first day of the week. Now Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 and 17 say, "So let no one judge you in food or in drink, or regarding a festival or a new moon or Sabbaths, which are shadows of things to come, but the substance is of Christ." Now I don't think this means that we shouldn't follow the Sabbath at all, since it is one of the 10 Commandments, but I do think this means that we don't have to follow the Sabbath just on Saturday. And since the early church started celebrating it the first day of the week, and that's what the church as a whole does now, I think that's something we should do just in the interest of church unity. Now obviously some people have jobs that they're required to be at work on Sunday, in which case then they can take the Sabbath a different day. But most of us should be taking the Sabbath on Sunday. And part of that means not working. And it seems to mean we shouldn't have other people work also. And so while a lot of people may not like this, I think that also means that we shouldn't even go out to eat or go to a store on Sunday, because it's making other people work. We have to think too, if we want people to go to church, if they're working in a restaurant because we're going to the restaurant right after church, then they can't go to church. Just think, if all Christians just stopped going out to eat on Sunday, restaurants would be closed on Sunday, and then people wouldn't have anything to do, so they wouldn't have the excuse to not go to church with you on Sunday. So these are just my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I right in some places, wrong in others? Let me know. But of course, please keep it respectful. God bless.